couple of these sessions are very, very important. In fact, every session is important. So we are moving towards self-inquiry. So we have laid the foundation of self-inquiry, why it is required. Why it is required? Because we have a lot of suffering in our life. And because of this suffering, that false ego, false self, or false ego that drives our life into suffering. And in the last session, we discussed that how the false self leads to mistaken identity, reactivity. We seek a validation from others, from the world outside. We take a decision that is fear based. We have a sense of duality, and we have over dependence on the people, on the things, on the relations outside. So any sense of dependence is full of expectations. So if I meet those expectations, I feel as if I have a healthy relationship. But one thing is sure, we cannot have a unending expectations from the others. That is one thing. And it is very clear that no one can meet all the expectations. So, because of these ideas and the mistaken identity, what happens? We have a limited perspective about our life. We are just screwed up in a cocoon where we have few relations are there, we have an over dependence, we take decisions that is based on the fear, and that false identity lacks an inner self, inner anchor. So we are tossed around by the situations and others' opinions, and that continues our life in suffering. Now the question arises that how does not knowing our real nature, how does not knowing our real nature or real self affect the way we live our life? So you should contemplate and reflect because of the mistaken identity. Answer is simple. From the mistaken identity, we react, we seek a validation, we have fears, we have anxieties, we have duality, we have a conflict. So we construct, in fact, our mind constructs a false sense of identity based on external things. And that causes a lot of instability, insecurity, and unhappiness in our life. We get attached to our title, we get attached to our profession, we get attached to so called the physical beauty, we get attached to, oh, we have millions of false identification, millions and millions of false identification. And sometime I react, sometime I'm pleased, sometime I'm happy, sometime I'm unhappy over the same issues again and again. I was telling Charlie that few of these sessions are extremely important. Maybe after 2 or 3 sessions, we will directly understand how to do this self-inquiry to start the journey in a next level. So one thing is because of the mistaken identity that I discussed last week. Now ask yourself that what else happens when we don't know our real self? We don't plan to be angry, we don't plan to be upset, but we get upset. No one wants to be upset. No one puts into agenda and the calendar that I'm going to be upset with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. No one thinks. But still we get upset, still we get angry, still we react, still we get frustrated. We don't put these things into our agenda. We never think in that way. So you see, the Eastern wisdom is demanding, asking us, well, let us think in that way. Why you get upset? Why you get frustrated? Why you get frustrated? And it is because there is an absence of inner self. That inner self, there is, we don't know it. I get upset. For example, I get upset and angry when someone hurts me. Why? I never think in that way. Why? Why, if someone hurts me or someone insults me, I feel angry? Because I think it is affecting my identity. What I think about myself, I force others to think in the same way about myself. But I don't know myself. Look at this level of ignorance. So we are constantly seeking a kind of validation, constantly seeking a kind of validation through the things like praise, the money, and the status. And they are not going to give me a lasting happiness. And then we enter into anxiety, duality, and a conflict. And the journey continues throughout the life. Now ask yourself, what exactly is the fear based decision in our life? I believe you know it. Because I don't know myself. So I make the choices from the fear and the insecurity rather than wisdom. Instead of understanding with a clarity that who am I start making a decision based on the fear and the insecurity. Maybe in the relationship, maybe in a profession, maybe outside. So what is happening? I'm basically escaping from my my true nature. Such an avoiding risks for new opportunities because of fear of failure or rejection. That is one of the major reasons of our bad relationship with the near and the dear ones. Why? Always ask, put a reason. Our decisions, when it is driven by fear, it means I want to protect my identity, which I don't know whether it is real or false. That is one of the major reasons of frustrating relationship in the family or with the near and dear ones. And we always, every time we try to overpower our fear, and when you try to overpower your fear, you get into frustration and anxiety. Then what your mind says, enough is enough. And you don't see what is happening in your mind. Then the one who has insulted you says, I'm very sorry, and you are getting carried away by it. How many times your near and dear ones said you that I'm sorry? Or how many times you said to them, I'm sorry, and you still reacted? Is it not a fact? Say yes, you cannot say no. I know that. You cannot say no. I know. So when I live into that wisdom, then there is no chance of saying the sorry. There's no chance of the fear. That is what our masters are talking. Don't you see it is very insightful? So the entire Eastern wisdom says that because of the ignorance, because of the lack of the self-knowledge, because lack of the self-knowledge, we get frustrated. And we are always frustrated. When you express your frustration or reaction, but internally you carry forward those impressions in your life. Think, if I'm not right, just oppose me. If you dare to say that, I'm living happiness, you just talk of that, no worries. Can you say that? I know you cannot say that. Why? Because we have to discover that true nature. And once we discover, realize that true, why true nature? Ignorance is gone. So what about the true nature? It is all about peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. So we are picking up the another principle today. Can practice without purification succeed in awakening to the real self? The answer is no. Without purifying the mind, the practice remains fruitless. And that is why you have already seen when you Google out in meditation, mindfulness, 1 minute and 5 minutes of meditation, and they are frustrated who advocate 5 minutes of meditation. So the master says in this principle, this is another principle that in the absence of clarity and conviction, or in the absence of the right knowledge, if you do any practice, in the absence of you right knowledge, you start driving, you will hit someone. It's a common sense. Because the false self identifies with fear, mistaken identity. So I have to understand it should not block my practice. If it blocks my practice, then obviously you have done the practice. You may feel you may feel very good doing the practice, but just after a few hours, your mind returns to the same old habit. Now, see, let us go a little deeper. That false self, false identity, there is a feeling in the false self that I'm separate from others. It creates a big wall between me and you all. So now the separation has been created. Once the separation has been created, then what happens? My mind that lives in the impurity, it has it perceives certain likes and dislikes. And likes and dislikes causes the attachment. And attachment causes the expectations. And more the expectations we have, reaction, anger, and hesitation is already. Think in that line. Just analyze your life, your thought, your speech, and your action. You will discover. And once you discover, you will realize that you are unnecessarily reactive, you are unnecessarily afraid. Everything is fine. Why? No, I'm not talking of, when we talk of the religion, it means they preach, we teach. What is preaching? Be kind. They don't explain you what is kindness. No religion. And that is why we have an apathy against all the religion, organized religion. So Eastern wisdom is not a religion. We teach, we keep on talking, we make you things clear, each and every aspect. But if you understand intellectually, then sit down and constantly reflect on that. How to reflect? You repeat the principle in your mind and then you analyze your life in light of these principles. You reacted. Okay. Now the principle says the false self thrives on reaction. Why it thrives on reaction? You are responsible for my problem. Where is the problem? Problem is in the mind. You are outside and you are responsible for my problem. How it is possible? Either you should enter into me. Are you getting it? Say yes. So you are outside. And now my mind constantly blames that you are responsible for my problem, frustration, anger, anxiety, etc. But I experience it inside, you're outside. How this is happening? It is happening because of attachment, because of expectations, because of emotional dependence. You're not dependent on me emotionally. So maximum what you will do, you'll say, I will not attend your session. That's all. But in relationship, we don't recognize that dependency, that fear-based decisions. And that is the problem. Otherwise, every human being is wonderful. How do you say? I know you have a lot of thoughts in your mind. How do you say? You don't know. No, I know. This is a common principle, common causes. So that false self thrives on desires, on attachment, on aversions, on self-centeredness. In a way, you can say that our false self maintains its existence on the likes and dislikes, on the attachment and detachment, on the fear in our relationship, in which who is very near and dear ones. And that creates a big level of ignorance in our life. And because the false self thrives on the impurity of the mind, and that is why we have to remove the impurity, we have to remove the projections in our life. We have never disciplined the mind since our birth. Say yes or no. And that is where the Eastern wisdom says, we will tell you why you discipline your mind because of the impurity. Don't allow the impurity and the projections to enter into your head. And then talk to your so called honey or relations. The life is much better. Don't be carried away by the habitual patterns and the conditioning and the memories of the past that drives your behavior. It limits your capacity to see the things rightly. So once we have understood, the question comes how to do it. Listening and learning the principles with a live teacher, doing the practice. Then repeat listening is another step in the journey. It becomes a contemplation. And when you are repeating it regularly, your mind starts realizing where you have gone with the impurity of the mind. So that is why we say listening and learning is first step. Contemplation and reflection is the second step. And third is the regular practice, consistent, regular study of the Eastern wisdom. What happens during the listening also, your mind, you have already shared your experiences, your mind becomes very calm, you realize that. But that realization is for a moment, for a couple of hours, and it goes back. Why? Because we are not contemplating and reflecting. So that is why the teacher says, that is the reason I lived with my master for 26 years, because he explained the same thing in a different perspective until it goes into your head and you say, aha, I got it. I got it. From today, no more blame and complaint. The next day you wake up in the morning, you're totally relaxed and you continue the journey. Then you recognize what are the factors which is causing frustration and the stress in your life. So practice has to be done, but practice with a clarity, with clear understanding. Now, in order to make it clear, you pick up one principle this week. What is that? What is real? What is false? And what is unreal? So you see that how we expand these, the one main principle into sub principles to help us. So you sit down even for a couple of minutes every day, maybe 5 minutes for a couple of times. Let me understand what is real, what is what is false, and what is unreal. So let me define the real. Real is no unchanging reality. It never changes. What it means, it never changes. Yesterday it was the same, today is the same, it will continue. It will never die. So we say that is one pointer to the real self. Means it is not subjected by the time. It is not dictated by any situation outside, any person outside, any relationship outside. What is false? Define false. So we have, in science, we have real or unreal. We have truth or untruth. Untruth does not exist. That is what unreal is. In Eastern wisdom, we have three factors. What is false? It appears as a real, but it is not. That I have been saying again and again. False refers, so it appears real and it is not real, like mirage water, like blueness of the sky. Now come closer to redefine the false. Check whatever is changing cannot be real. Is body changing? Yes. Are thoughts changing? Yes. Is mind changing? Yes. So it means body, breath, mind, intellect, ego, they all are changing. They come under the category of the false. I have to allow my intellect to contemplate and reflect again and again and again until the principle settles into you. Tell me if it is wrong. Anything that is changing is made up of the parts. We are whole, as I am is a whole. Body is made up of parts, mind, intellect, breath, ego. Whatever is made of the parts which is changing cannot be me. So you say to me that I am crazy. Obviously, this is a thought. Thought keeps on changing. I was telling in the morning, if I if you say me I'm crazy and I become angry over you, so I proved that I'm crazy. I already proved. I need not to justify. On the other hand, if I'm able to maintain the calm, and I say, okay, let us sit down. Can you tell me why I'm crazy? I will try to improve. Demands a guts, especially with the near and the dear ones. We don't do that because we are already preoccupied with the false identity. So remember, false, our body, mind that are always changing, it is made up of the parts. It cannot be real. Our role as a husband, as a wife, as a son, as a daughter, as a teacher, these are the different roles I play. You also play a different role. So when I get identified with a role, oh, I'm your husband, or I'm your wife, how dare you are staring to that girl, for example. So you are already, you put up into your, how that thought has come because of the insecurity. Should I tell you one more interesting thing? The false has no independent existence. Real has always an independent existence. What it means? Let us pick up a very interesting before we go to the practice. If I say, you are telling a lie to me, how come I say that? If I know what is truth, then only I say that you are telling a lie. It means the lie depends on the truth. The truth is independent. Truth is always independent. Real is always independent. So, with this understanding, with this idea, with this thought, if you analyze your blame and complaint, your reaction, your fear, you will see, you become free. You analyze, you don't find there is any basis for it. They don't depend, they don't have an independent existence. What happens when you intellectually think about it? You have that thought pattern, your mind becomes free. But it returns again, so I have to do it again. I have to do the practice. So I need not to talk about the unreal, which does not exist. It does not have an existence. But false, it appears true, but it is not. So how to further break down that false in order to clearly understand it is constantly changing? You cannot say that it purely exists or it does not exist. It appears to exist. It does not have an independent existence. You can perceive it. You can definitely feel it. But when you analyze it, when you reflect on it, it disappears. That is the beauty. Your anger, your hesitation, your reaction, if you analyze it step by step, following this principle of Eastern wisdom, they dissolve. How? The way from a distance you see the water, mirage water, but as you approach, it is not. That is the way we have to inquire, do this self inquiry. If we don't do the self inquiry, so now see that one more, then we will pick up in the next session that this false thrives on attachment, on greed, on expectations, on the jealousy, on blame, on complaint. What are they? They are the impurities of the mind. Did you see the connection between the impurities of the mind and the false? also always thrives on attachment, detachment, aversion, greed, anger, expectations, anxiety. And when you analyze this falls, it dissolves. Same thing. From where they have taken birth in my mind because of mistaken identity. Okay, don't be serious. Let us close your eyes. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed and be comfortable. Being comfortable. Being comfortable means you know it. Being comfortable, you are not doing any practice. That's another way to contemplate and reflect. You don't force yourself to make the body comfortable. You just leave the body. Do you see that? You leave the body after alignment. You leave the body as it is. In that state, you look at the neck joint. You feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Please, in these 2 weeks, you should prepare yourself. You should be committed so that we can start the journey of the self inquiry. So now you see that you feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. If you don't feel, say, for example, what should you do? You move the mind, you just look mentally, emotionally, your body from the top of the head to the toes. When you are looking, means mind is looking, means mind is aware. Mind is aware means the mind is feeling. Mind is feeling, then you have a sensation, comfort, and steadiness. Pay attention so that I can go deeper. So, what happens? Another point to understand in being comfortable. The mind is when mind is wandering, it is attached, it has aversion. Then what happens? The mind is already running outside, subconsciously, habitually, animally, even without thinking. And now we brought the mind back to the body and we feel the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And the second step is being carefree. I've been telling you, please contemplate and reflect. Being carefree means free from all the cares of the mind. That is how I give the metaphor. You are standing across the road. Are you doing anything? No. Are you watching the traffic? Yes. Is the traffic separate from you? Yes. The same way I should find, feel, experience that all the thoughts are separate from me. That is very much required in order to purify the mind. You know clearly traffic on the road is separate from the pavement you are standing there. Same way, there is something in your mind, observer is there, which is which is watching and being aware of the thoughts. They are coming and going. But you feel as if you are standing, you are not carried away by any thought. What that means? You are aware without attaching. I know in American society, we say don't be judgmental. What is being judgmental? That you start looking, oh, this guy I like, I don't like. So you're judgmental. Being judgmental means that you carry your mind with the likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure. and other, the dual. So what we are doing, what is this process of being carefree is a discernment. What is discernment? Is a separation. I just look at the thing and people and relations and the thoughts as they are. So what happens then? Then you have separated yourself. And that gives you a tremendous awareness by which we can discover our real self. At least for a few moments, you get away with the impurity of the mind. And the same thing, we don't rely on any thought that is going and coming into our head. We say, okay, let us replace these thoughts with a mantra. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. So now you have to contemplate in your mind, let everyone be happy. But then you have to reflect on it. So what is happening? You are engaging your mind to go with the principle. If that is not happening, the impurity will continue. So now, even if the thoughts are coming and going, your mind says, okay, everyone be happy. Yeah, happiness is our essential nature. It is the essential nature of every human being on this earth planet. Do I have a problem with anyone? No. I am in peace, others are also in peace. So then mind starts thriving on the wisdom. Then you recognize if someone is upset over you, you don't get angry and blame. You maintain that awareness. I believe you're getting it. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Not only peace for myself, peace for you, or peace for me, peace for everyone. Now see what happens then. So you perceive the peace everywhere, even for a slight moment. So we are showing the mind how to replace. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Purna means completeness. So when I feel the sense of completeness in me, why? Then dependence on others is not there in my life. When I don't depend on them, attachment dissolves. I gave you, I told you that by close examination, by analyzing these thoughts in my head, I dissolve this attachment and aversion. And that is what the mantra should do in my life, in our life. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Auspiciousness with grace and the blessing should fall upon me. Now it doesn't happen so easily. So then we take the mind to the task. I'm making every step clear to you as if you are your own teacher. And if you follow, you are your own teacher means that you know what is the next step and what to do and how to do it. Means what? You're contemplating and reflecting. Pay attention, my friends. And now look inside the forehead in the space, and there you drop Om Shanti. Now you see, you keep your body in a steady position, no movement. One thing. Second thing, you continue dropping Om Shanti deep inside the forehead in the space. And second thing. And third thing, you start breathing quick and short and gentle breath through both the nostrils. Continue. Do not stop in the middle. your mind will object to it. Why they are objecting? Because that objection comes from the impurity of the mind. You do not stop and you continue doing it. No, but what will happen if I get some tingling sensation? They are good. They are good. Any sensation during the practice is a good thing. It means you have made a commitment that I must change myself. So don't stop. Let us do it for 3 minutes today. Continue. Continue. We are doing it for 3 minutes only. And if your mind says 3 minutes is too much, then obviously the mind has a resistance. How you get out of the resistance? You endure it. You tell your mind, no, I have to do it. At least you should be little pushy to the mind. Otherwise, how we can change ourselves? And stop it. Do nothing. Now you are doing nothing. Again, in the state of doing nothing, we become aware of what? That is, now you can easily understand what we are doing. So you look at the head and the neck mentally and experience sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Body is in the state, motionless state of the body. Why we are asking? We are preventing the mind to run after the impurity. Is it important? Yes, in the beginning, it is important. So look at the right arm. So your mind moves on the entire right arm. You feel the sensation, relaxation, and the motionless state. Move the mind on the left arm, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the chest and the belly, the middle portion of the body. You take your time and feel the sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the right leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Move the mind on the left leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Entire body. Pay attention, my friends. You experience the sensation, relaxation and stillness. You appreciate, you recognize. When you appreciate and recognize, you are using the knowledge with the practice. I believe you all are clear. So even if the mind has a thoughts, you are not worried at all. You just see these thoughts are coming and going. So we leave the surface mind, which invites unwanted, unwelcome thoughts, and we go deeper. We feel we as if we are deep. And in that state, you take your mind on the breath and start breathing deep, silent, and slow. How you breathe deep, silent, and slow? First, you inhale into the belly, then into the chest. You exhale from the belly, from the ribs. Make it very slow, deep, and silent. Why you now again understand why you are breathing deep, silent, and slow. It's very easy to bypass all the impurities. You live in a higher awareness. Your mind does not dictate on you, provided the deep silence, slow breathing is rhythmic in the state of stillness in the body. And now, as you inhale, on the breath, you drop Om Shanti during inhalation into the belly. You continue to inhale, you drop Om Shanti when the chest expands. And when you reach to the throat, Om Shanti, three Om Shanti. And during exhalation, again gently drop. You're not in a hurry. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So, what exactly should happen? That if any thought interrupts the process, you superimpose on that thought Om Shanti, as if you're only seeking Om Shanti, nothing else, no other thought. I add the knowledge, yes. So it means you are not at all worried about any thought enters into your mind, unwanted thought enters into your mind. Now, instead of three, you drop only two Om Shanti. Breath is the same. Breath is deep, silent, and slow. Om Shanti. You feel the expansion of the belly. Om Shanti. You feel the expansion of the rib cage. During exhalation, belly drops down. Om Shanti. To Shanti during inhalation and during exhalation. I believe you all are maintaining the state of stillness in the body. You are dropping Om Shanti. Breath is deep, silent, and slow. And in that deep, silent, and slow breathing, now you drop only one Om Shanti. Last time we did it. I'm repeating. The moment you start inhaling, your mind sings Om Shanti. Inhalation completes. Exhalation begins, and you say Shanti, it completes. At the same time, with Om Shanti, you feel the expansion and the contraction of the belly and the rib cage. What's going to happen? It will take your mind deeper. Continue. And leave the breath on its own. Allow the breath to be normal. Do nothing. Just an awareness of the breath, awareness of the body, experience of the calmness and the peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. And we'll share our experiences now. How are you, John? We don't hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's fairly calm here, no distractions, so it's good.
You're calm by yourself?
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. That's a good point, too. How are you, Charlie?
Hi, I'm good. I was aware of my mind was chattering away in the background, but I just let it be. Yeah, I had busy mind and I was in the meditation.
Good. So you see, you recognize the mind is busy on its own and you are doing the practice. So it means you have separated the busy mind with yourself.
Correct.
So that is the discernment. And when you are judgmental, then you get carried away by the busy mind.
Oh, that's good. Girish, I wanted to ask, did I hear you say correctly, we're meeting in 2 weeks?
What did you say?
Maybe I misunderstood. Are we meeting next week, or have we got 2 weeks?
Yeah, no, we are meeting every week. What I was saying that in the coming 2 weeks, I will focus again on these principles, and then we'll directly go to the self-inquiry.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
How are you, Anne? You have to unmute.
Yeah, I feel fine. Very grounded.
Very good.
Yes.
Very grounded, obviously. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, nothing bothers me.
Nothing bothers. That's really good. That's a good experience. How are you, Mead?
I feel a deep sense of calmness
Very good.
and clarity.
Yes, keep
Like my
that
brain. Whoa.
clarity this week. Listen to it, understand, analyze. I told you the main principle to all of you. When you analyze your anxiety, reaction, blame, and complaint through contemplation and reflection in the mode of discernment, they dissolve. And that is what exactly we are learning. That is all for today. Thank you very much. That is all for.
Thank you.